Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Kyle Henderson alongside Andrew Bone coming to you from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I'm on the line with Andrew Bone. Bone, today we're talking about a big junior day that is taking place this weekend here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. But first off, I think there's a lot of people that really want to know what exactly is a junior day, what happens at a junior day, what is the experience, do they get to meet Nick Saban? So I think a good starting point is just to describe and provide the information of what exactly goes down at a junior day.
Yeah, junior day is probably different for some people. For me, it's kind of all right. We're on to the 2021 recruiting class, and sometimes they do these junior days a little bit before signing day. They'll have one junior day, usually the weekend or two before signing day, and then they'll have another one, about a month later. So I expect Alabama will have either one in late February or early March. Second one, but usually what these junior days kind of include is it's an invite only event. Alabama has kind of identified some of their early junior targets in next year's recruiting class, and that's coming from either watching their film, maybe going to a game during the fall, evaluating these guys during the evaluation period. As we know, Alabama coaches have been on the road since December, evaluating players, going by high schools. They haven't just been going by and seeing 2020 guys. They've been seeing a lot of 2021 guys, 2022 guys, even some 2023 guys. And they've continued to do that this month with only a few players targets left in this 2020 class. So they've really been able to focus a little bit more on the underclassmen, and we're going to see a lot of those underclassmen on campus this weekend. And really what they get to do is kind of just spend time with the coaches, spend time on campus, learn about the university. A lot of these kids who are coming into town this weekend haven't been to Tuscaloosa before. Now there are some of those guys who have been recruited by Alabama for a long time and who have been to Tuscaloosa, whether it was for maybe camp last summer or a game this past fall. Some of these guys are coming back in for a second or third visit, but there's a lot of guys who, they may have been on campus for a visit before, like a game day experience, but they hadn't really had an opportunity to visit the campus, see all the facilities, check out the academics, see the dorms, and really just spend time with the coaches, get to know those guys a little bit better, get to know who their recruiting coach is, spend some time with them, maybe watch some film, sit down in a position meeting, and a lot of these guys are going to have an opportunity to sit down with Coach Saban and spend some time with them, especially the top guys. I think the top guys are really going to be shuffled in and out of Coach Saban's office. They'll have an opportunity to spend some time with him, learn about him a little bit more than what they see on television, and Alabama will. After this weekend, they'll have a good idea really on some of these guys who they want to continue to press for, continue to pursue and evaluate. Now, it's not going to be every top target that they're recruiting in the 2021 recruiting class or 2022, but a lot of those guys are going to be able to come on campus, and there's other junior days going on throughout the country. So that's something that you have to kind of battle and try to bring in who you can. And they should have anywhere between 40 and 60 guys on campus this weekend. And not all of them will be Alabama targets down the road, but a lot of them will. And this is just an opportunity for Alabama to evaluate these kids, not from a talent standpoint, but just evaluate them from a mental standpoint, from just spending some time with them. There's going to be a lot of players on Alabama's team, including a lot of freshmen who have already enrolled early, who are going to have an opportunity to spend time with these guys and learn about them and answer any questions. A lot of these recruits will come in and they may have some questions. What's it like to be a student athlete at Alabama? What are the workouts like, and et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of those questions will get answered. A lot of parents will also be in town. And maybe it's their first time to visit Tuscaloosa and kind of see what Alabama's all about. And they'll learn a lot about Alabama and learn more than just about the football program. They'll learn about the academic side as well, which typically makes the parents feel a lot more comfortable once they leave campus.
All right, good stuff, Bone. Big junior day taking place in Tuscaloosa. You can catch all the coverage back at BamaInsider.com. We're going to have interviews, updates, nuggets. You want it, you got it back at BamaInsider.com. See the free 30-day trial. Promo code is Roll Tide. Now, let's talk about some big names that are coming in. You mentioned there's a lot of guys coming in trying to get the experience, trying to learn more about Alabama. But let's talk about some big names that are coming in. And I know there's a 5-star out of Fort Worth, but kind of just give us some big names to watch as we turn the page towards this weekend's junior day.
Yeah, so there's been a whole mess of recruits whose names have been listed as coming into town this weekend, and we're probably going to miss some guys in terms of some names that we don't list that are going to pop in, and there have been some guys like Monkel Goodwine, the big defensive end out of Maryland, who was going to come, who would consider coming in, but's not going to make it. Mason Smith, big defensive tackle out of Louisiana, not going to be in town, but there are going to be some big names back in Tuscaloosa. Now, looking back at last week, and Alabama had the number 1 offensive lineman in the country in Amarius Mims on campus. Well, this weekend they get the number 2 offensive lineman in the country, and Tommy Brockermeyer out of Texas, big-time target for Alabama, has been recruited by Alabama for a long time. He visited Tuscaloosa last summer. He was not able to make it for a game, but definitely somebody that Alabama holds in high regard, and I think Alabama's very high on his list as well. His brother, James Brockermeyer, also a 2021 recruit offensive lineman, also going to be in town. I don't think Alabama's offered him just yet, but we might see that happen this weekend. Another big offensive line target that has been to Tuscaloosa several times is T.J. Ferguson out of Fort Valley in Georgia. Big time target for the Crimson Tide. I definitely think he's one of Alabama's probably top 3 offensive line targets in this 2021 recruiting class. I definitely think that he has Alabama very high on his list. Probably a top 2 of Alabama and Georgia right now. There's a lot of talk about him ending up at Alabama, but I know he visited Georgia last weekend, and they're certainly making him a priority as well. But those are 2 major offensive line targets, and I said this earlier. I think that offensive tackle is certainly going to be a priority position for Alabama in next year's recruiting class. They got only 3 offensive linemen in this year's class, in this 2020 class, and next year, very important to get a lot of guys on the offensive line. And I think they kind of looked ahead. They kind of knew what the 2021 recruiting class was going to be like in terms of offensive linemen. And you have such targets who've been to Tuscaloosa or who are coming to Tuscaloosa, such as Tommy Brockermeyer, Amarius Mims, who was on campus last weekend, and T.J. Ferguson. With Ferguson and Brockermeyer on campus this weekend, is going to be huge for them. Another big position for Alabama, as we've kind of talked about, and everybody kind of knows, is going to be tight end. Alabama got a commitment earlier this week from Carl Tucker, the graduate transfer tight end, but he's only going to be on Alabama's campus for 1 year. He's only going to have 1 year to play in Tuscaloosa, so he's going to have to make the most of it. And next year is going to be a big year for Alabama in the tight end department. I think you look at a couple guys like Hudson Wolf, the big time tight end out of Savannah, Tennessee. He's going to be on campus this weekend. I think that's a huge target for the Crimson Tide this weekend. Getting him back on campus, and also Gage Wilcox. That's a name I think a lot of Alabama fans probably don't know, or maybe they remember him from the summer. He attended Alabama's camp last June, and they really have turned up the heat on him. They really liked him at camp during the summer, and definitely 2 of Alabama's top overall targets at the tight end position. Now, looking in-state wise, number 1 player in the state of Alabama will be on campus this weekend. JaQuincy McKinstry, also known as Kool-Aid, out of Pleasant Valley High School. I mean, definitely Pleasant Valley. I played Pleasant Valley in high school at a small 2A school. I'm talking about Pinson Valley with Kool-Aid. Pinson Valley High School. Definitely a 2-sport athlete that's got offers from just about everybody for football and basketball. He's been to Tuscaloosa just countless times. I do think that Alabama's in pretty good shape with him. He doesn't really like to do many interviews. He keeps things pretty quiet, but he's been to Tuscaloosa more than it's even been reported. Come down there a bunch of times and just kind of hung out with the players, spending time with the coaching staff, and it'll be interesting to kind of see what happens with his recruitment, because he definitely is a basketball star and wants to play both sports, and has a lot of basketball offers. I mean, from major programs. So we'll see kind of what happens with his recruitment. But I like where Alabama currently sits. And another guy that's in state, is coming on campus this weekend. I continue to tell everyone to watch out for him, because it would not surprise me if he committed this weekend. Now, he continues to say that he's going to wait, but Tim Keenan, four-star defensive tackle out of Ramsey High School in Birmingham, has been to Alabama just several times, grew up an Alabama fan. His mentor is Quentin Williams, who's obviously a former Alabama great defensive lineman now with the New York Jets. I think they talk every single week. So definitely watch out for Tim Keenan. I think Alabama's definitely high on his list, and could potentially pull the trigger early. I know he says, like I said, I know he says that he's going to wait and take it all the way down until signing day, but I just think that he could be bluffing, and there could be a commitment coming from him anytime soon.
Good stuff, Bone. When we look at this class of 2021 for Alabama, we see that they have three current commits. Latrell McCutcheon, who's a four-star out of the Austin, Texas area. You have Deontay Lawson out of Mobile, Alabama, four-star outside linebacker. Then you have Drake May, who's a quarterback out of Charlotte. He won't be attending this weekend, but it looks like Latrell and Deontay will also be in Tuscaloosa. Can you talk about those two commitments and how important it is to leave those guys with a long-lasting impression once they leave this weekend?
Yeah, well, Drake May is not going to be able to make it this weekend because just his basketball schedule, everything he's kind of got going on. But Nick Saban and Steve Sarkisian went to his basketball game the other night, and he says he's going to plan on making it down to Tuscaloosa, I think, sometime in March. But they are going to have their other two commitments in the 2021 class on campus, and in Deontay Lawson out of Mobile Christian and Latrell McCutcheon out of Texas. Now, Latrell McCutcheon suffered a torn ACL during his junior season, and kind of been sidelined, but definitely a strong commitment for Alabama. He's in the Rivals 100. Deontay Lawson, definitely a spectacular athlete. Plays on both sides of the football. Had a great junior season. Plays for Coach Ronnie Cottrell down in Mobile Christian, and I thought it was a big early commitment for Alabama, getting him on board, and it reminds a lot of people of DeMoy Kennedy, who signed with Alabama, five-star linebacker. So I think those are two great commitments for Alabama, along with Drake May, and I think they can certainly maybe add to it this weekend. With some of these guys coming on campus, and I think Alabama's really going to press for to get maybe another commitment or two. Before even the 2020 class is completed next Wednesday.
Good stuff, Bone. Gigantic weekend in Tuscaloosa. And then, of course, you can catch all the coverage back at BamaInsider.com. And then, of course, you can find out on the remaining targets from 2020 on BamaInsider.com. If you're curious to become a premium subscriber, you know what to do. Go to the website, look for the free 30 days. Promo code is simply Roll Tide. For Andrew Bone, my name is Kyle Henderson. We'll catch you soon at BamaInsider.com.